of chicken. Even the chicken tail had to be saved for her little brother. But she never expected that, on her very first day after being sold into her husband's family, her mother-in-law would bring her a whole big drumstick. Panicked, she quickly put the meat into her husband's bowl, because ever since she was little, her mother had taught her that the good stuff always had to go to boys first. But then her mother-in-law and husband immediately put the drumstick right back into her bowl. Eat up, there's more in the pot. Now that you're in our family, you think we'd let you go hungry? In fact, the young woman had never been loved by her mother. When she was little, she once dreamed her younger brother got a high fever and died. The very next day, something really did happen to him, just like in the dream. From then on, her mother decided she was a jinx who brought bad luck. Later, when her younger brother reached marrying age, her mother sold her off for 5 taels of silver to a man nearby who was infamous for bringing death to his wives. Her so-called dowry was nothing more than a fake quilt stuffed with reed fluff. On the way to the wedding, she silently hoped the ox cart would tumble off a cliff and end her miserable life for good. But in the end, the ox cart safely brought her to her husband's home. So this is my husband? The one with that awful wife-killer reputation? He's actually so handsome. It turned out that when the man was just 12, he had already passed the first scholar exam, and everyone in the village praised him as a child prodigy. But no one expected that over the next 8 years. Every time he finished an exam, everyone said his essay was the best. But when the results came out, his name was never on the list. Even worse, 2 new wives had died one after another right after marrying him, which was how he ended up with that terrible reputation. Before long, her father was about to head home. Before leaving, he pressed 2 copper coins into her palm. "Danny, take these, don't tell your mother." "Dad, go back inside, it's cold out here." After saying that, her father left without looking back. That night, after dinner, she immediately went to wash the dishes. But her mother-in-law unexpectedly discovered that the quilt she brought as dowry was stuffed with worthless reed fluff. She was worried her mother-in-law would scold her for tricking them into the marriage. But instead, her mother-in-law came rushing out angrily and threw all the bowls into the basin. "You silly child. What kind of family makes a brand new daughter-in-law wash dishes in icy water during a snowstorm? Mother, I can do it. I did chores like this every day at home." "About the dowry? What about the dowry? As long as you got here safe and sound, that's all that matters." Not only did her mother-in-law not blame her over the dowry, she even said with pity that the girl must have suffered a lot at home. Then she urged her to hurry inside and keep her husband company. At that moment, tears started rolling down the young woman's face. After she entered the bridal room, her husband looked at her with guilt and said he couldn't carry heavy loads, couldn't do hard labor, and only knew how to read and write. But he still couldn't pass the scholar exam, and he was afraid she would have to suffer with him in the future. Yet the young woman told him that being able to marry him was the greatest blessing of her life. After hearing that, her husband suddenly blurted out, "Danny, we've met before, don't you remember?" Only then did the young woman suddenly remember that she had met this man before. One year, during a heavy rain, she happened to run into him on his way to the capital for the exam. Seeing that his books were about to get soaked, she gave him the lotus leaf she had been using as an umbrella. From that day on, the man had kept her face deep in his heart. That memory instantly brought their hearts closer, and that night, the two officially became husband and wife. After she fell asleep in the middle of the night, the man secretly kissed her. But the instant their skin touched, a